Sir, before you have a seat, if you raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do so.
Thank you. Please have a seat, and once you're comfortable, I'll have you first off move that microphone. It's easier to move the microphone than the chair, but make sure you keep that close to your mouth so the jury can hear your testimony. And if you could tell us your full name and spell the last, please.
It's Richard Musali, and that's spelled Moussalli.
Thank you. Ms. Ida.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. Musali, on January 7th of 2007, where did you live? Like what area?
I lived at 65140 County Road 215.
And you said it's immediately adjacent to their property?
Yes.
Okay.
But quite a distance.
Quite a distance. Do you have acreage?
Yeah.
Okay. And on January 7th, did you become aware of either some sort of a fire or smoke at the Stermer residence?
Yes.
How did you first, how were you first alerted to that?
My sons and I were doing chores that afternoon, and we heard a strange noise we couldn't quite identify, and we saw smoke coming from the direction of their home.
When you say you heard a strange noise, like what type of noise?
We really weren't sure. My son and I talked about it. We said, "What is that?" We just weren't sure what it was. We wondered if it could be horses. We really didn't know what the noise could possibly be. So.
And then you said you were able to then see their property?
No, we were not able to see their property. We were able to see smoke coming from about where the house would be. There was almost a third of a mile between our houses, I would guess, and woodlands, so we were not able to see each other's homes.
What did you do once you saw that smoke coming out?
We decided that we should go over and see what was going on. And so we got in the truck and drove over.
And did you drive out into the street?
Yes. Drove down the driveway and then out onto County Road 215 and headed in the direction of their home.
And then did you drive down their driveway?
Yes.
Did you have any difficulties driving down that driveway?
No.
And what did you see when you arrived?
The first emergency vehicle had arrived and was there, I guess, marking the driveway for vehicles that were to come. And as we pulled into the driveway, we could see that there were flames coming from the house.
Did you see any people?
Not until we drove back further.
So did you and your son then continue to the house?
Yes, I parked the car in the pasture land there, told my younger son to stay in the truck and my 16-year-old son to come with me as we went over to where we saw some people.
Do you remember who you saw?
Yes. I saw Mike Matheny and Connie Calhoun and Linda Stermer standing there, and then there was one person on the ground.
Did you know who was on the ground?
Not at first. I wasn't sure if it was Todd or possibly his son Trevor.
What was the condition of the person you saw on the ground?
He was unconscious, laying on his back, and he had obviously been burned. He had all hair was gone, which made it more difficult to tell his age. His skin, it wasn't blackened as you might have imagined, but burned, and so weeping serous fluid, perhaps a little swollen and puffy, and then also making it a little harder to determine his age, based on facial appearance, no wrinkles. So that was the general appearance.
Did you see anything to help you identify who it actually was?
Yeah, it occurred to me to look at his left hand, and I saw his wedding band, and then I realized it was Todd for sure.
Was anyone attempting to administer aid at that time?
No, not yet. Actually, I did ask if anyone had called 911, and I think it was Mike Matheny that said that 911 had been called.
So when you arrived, was everybody just kind of around Todd?
Yes, they were standing beside him.
Was he conscious at that time?
No.
Did you hear him say anything?
No. No, he was not responsive.
And at that point, what did you do, or how did you assist?
Well, I just started going through initial assessment, determined that he was not responsive, checked if 911 had been called, and then tried to, I could see that he was breathing somewhat irregularly. I tried to feel for a pulse and spent a little time feeling for a pulse, couldn't really get a very distinct pulse at all. And then determined that we were just not in a safe situation.
And why was it not safe?
We were about 20 yards from the building itself, and between us and the building was their home, I think it was their home heating oil tank, or some type of fuel tank, a green tank. It was about 5 yards from the building and about 15 yards from us. We were just right next to it.
And so what did you do based on that
So
observation?
I felt we needed to move him. I just couldn't imagine dragging a burn victim across a horse pasture. And I said, you know, we've got to find something flat to transport him on. And so Mike and my 16-year-old son, Luke, ran off and found something we could put him on and transport him on.
Do you remember what they found?
It looked like a kind of a mini plastic John boat.
John boat. So for those of us who
A
don't
John
know,
boat is kind of like a flat bottom boat, not a V-hulled boat. And it was like about half the length of a normal John boat. So it was probably about 8 feet long, or six or 7 feet long maybe.
so when you say a John boat, I'm picturing an actual boat in my mind.
Yeah, a boat, a little boat.
And it was made out of what?
I think it was plastic. It was green, and I think it was plastic.
Did it have edges on it?
It had like a rim, and we were I remember we were able to hold that rim. It had seats in it, so we weren't really able to, like a bench seat or maybe 2 bench seats front and back. And then, so we couldn't really lay him flat, but we were able to at least put him in it and not have to carry him and drag him across, you know, a soiled field.
What was Linda doing at this time?
She was wailing, and that was actually, we realized that was a noise we had heard from our home, wailing and crying, varying degrees of upset as minute by minute went by.
Did you ever see her on top of Todd or by his facial area?
No.
Do you recall how long you were on scene?
I don't really know. I would say I think we worked with him for 20 to 30 minutes total. I would guess that would be my guess. And then a few minutes, and we gathered my family, and then we left. So.
Do you see Linda Stermer in the courtroom today?
I don't recognize you. I don't know. Maybe that's you right there, Linda. Yeah, I guess that's you, Linda. Yes, I do.
And could you just point to her or describe her by something she's wearing?
Kind of grayed hair, pink blouse, headband.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant. I know for the questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Morning.
Excuse me, Doctor, I understand you are a dentist, right?
Correct.
All right. Prior to being a dentist, though, you and I have spoken once on the phone, I think, right?
I believe so.
And you were an EMT.
I was an RN. I worked mostly in critical care for 5 years before being a dentist.
So you know a lot about treating people, patients.
Some, yes.
All right. When you first were outside and you noticed smoke first or heard a wailing first? Strange sound.
We heard the sound first.
Okay. It wasn't just a faint sound, right? You could actually notice and look around. What the heck is that?
We could hear the sound clearly,
And you live a third of a mile away.
approximately, I'd say a third to a fourth of a mile in a straight line.
To the north of Todd's and Linda Stermer?
Yeah, they would be to the southeast, I would be to the northwest.
Okay. So you go over to the house, and ultimately you realize that the strange sound you heard was Linda screaming and wailing hysterically. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you also notice what she was wearing?
I don't recall at all what she was wearing.
Do you remember that she wasn't wearing any shoes?
No.
You got to what you ultimately learned was Todd Stermer, right?
Correct.
Did you start to try to do care, given you had a nursing background, a medical background?
I'm sorry, did I try to
do care for him, to treat him?
Yes. I was evaluating him and preparing to do CPR, but we felt we had to move him first.
Okay. I'm going to talk about when you moved him, but Your Honor, I'm going to grab this easel. You, if I heard you right, you and your son Luke
Yes.
and Mr. Matheny are the ones who found this 6 to 8 foot, did you call it a John boat?
No, just my son and Mike.
Okay, Mike. They found it, they brought it over to you, right?
Yes.
And just here's the house. This is to the north, right? If this is the front of the house,
Yes,
you're to the north. You live out here, right, to the north?
roughly.
Okay. Todd Stermer is somewhere, and here was a fuel tank. Remember a green fuel tank?
Yes.
Todd Stermer is somewhere closer to the fuel tank.
About 15 yards from the fuel tank.
I can't see anything you're doing.
I'm just going to put, not to scale, obviously.
I can't see anything he's doing.
Council can move around.
Do you want to,
I don't know how I.
can you
Good.
see it now?
Yeah, maybe he stands on the side a little bit.
I'll hold it up for you, Doctor.
On
I
the
can
side,
see.
I mean, if you want to come up to a spot where you can see it better.
So, you decide, the three of you or more, decide we need to move him because there's a risk of fire from this fuel tank, right?
Correct.
And the house is on fire, as you see, right?
Yes.
When you came up, mostly from the upper floor.
Yes, that's what I saw coming out of the upper level.
Do you remember what side it was on? If the north is where you are, south?
I just remember seeing flames coming from the upper level, through the roof or around the dormers maybe, but just the upper level.
Okay. Then you take this 6 to 8 foot long, that's what it's a John boat?
Yes.
I'll just call it a boat. And you put Todd Stermer in the boat.
Correct.
So where you found him is position 1, right?
No, we brought the boat right up to him and then lifted him.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
we didn't have to move him any distance at all. They brought the boat right up to him.
I got it. I'm just saying, position 1 is where you found him. You brought the boat to him,
Yep.
and then you moved him to a position somewhere about how far away?
I would guess it was maybe 50 to 75 yards towards the road, away from the house. So that would be 50 to 75 yards to the northeast. We moved.
Okay. Right? So this way,
Yeah.
right? Not to scale, but 50 to
Yes.
75 yards. Yes?
Yeah.
And then you take him out of the boat, right?
Correct.
And this is where, at position 2, you start performing medical treatment for him
Yes.
as best you can.
Yes.
You said I think you tried to do CPR, but his airway was closed off?
Yes. Compressions were being done with Officer Gruss, and I was attempting to perform respirations.
Respiration is breathe through the mouth, open mouth?
Right.
Mouth to mouth?
EMTs arrived, and I believe they had an ambu bag for me.
Okay. When you were there, are you on your knees right over him?
Yes.
You're very close to his body, right?
Yes.
You never smelled a strong odor of gasoline, did you?
I don't recall smelling gasoline.
Given that this was a house fire and you're a trained RN, if you had smelled a strong odor of gasoline, you would have remembered that, right?
Most likely.
Okay. I don't want to butcher it. M-O-U-S-A-L-L-I?
2 S's.
2 S's, my fault. Sorry, sir.
No problem.
So you didn't smell an odor of gasoline. You did end up smelling, though, an odor of bowels, right?
Correct.
And that was a strong odor.
I wouldn't say strong, but I thought I could smell it all.
What does a bowel smell to somebody in your position as a trained RN? What does that indicate in terms of death?
I was concerned that perhaps he had already passed.
What happens that would cause someone to emit a bowel smell?
Just a relaxation of muscle that would then allow some bowel to pass.
You never had a conversation with Linda while you were at the scene, would that be fair?
She asked me a couple times if I thought he was alive. That was the only conversation we had.
And during the whole time where you were with Todd, she was trying to, she was just out of control, fair?
She was crying the whole time, I would say.
Wailing loudly, which is why you compared it and said, yeah, that's the sound we heard.
I seem to remember that at the initial encounter when I first got there, and then just perhaps just crying as time went on.
How long were you there on the scene, you think?
At least half an hour.
Can you give me 1 second, Your Honor? Were you ever interviewed by any insurance company representatives, investigators?
Yes. I'm not sure exactly what his position was, but I thought he was some kind of an investigator.
Does a guy named James Shinsky, ring a bell to you?
Vaguely.
Yeah. Do you recall telling Mr. Shinsky that you smelled no odor?
Not distinctly, really.
Okay. If you would have told him you smelled no odor, like of gasoline or any accelerant, back a couple days after the fire, that would have been a better memory than now.
Probably.
But even now, you know if it was significant, if you smelled a significant smell of gasoline, you would have remembered it.
Yes.
And you don't know what caused the fire, do you?
Not really.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Ms. Seiderman?
Thank you, Your Honor. Doctor, is it safe to say there was a lot of chaos going on at this moment?
Probably more than I was aware of. I was pretty focused on Todd.
And that was going to be my next questions. Your focus was on Todd.
It was.
And you were by his chest and his head area,
Correct.
correct? And were you ever down by his feet or his ankles?
No.
So you remained up here to be able to work on his mouth, his breathing, and his heart.
Yes.
Is that correct? And you said you felt maybe there was a slight smell of bowel.
Yes.
Does flesh also have a smell when it burns?
It probably would have. His skin was not blackened. There were portions of his ears missing, but I don't really ever remember smelling anything like burning flesh.
How about burning hair?
Don't remember smelling that either, but his hair was all gone.
And you were also on the ground. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
So you have grass and dirt as well, right?
Yeah, we were in a horse pasture.
And you're also then very close to the home at this point?
Initially.
And can you smell the fire and the smoke?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Just a couple questions. You said you noticed the skin was not blackened,
Correct.
like as if you had direct flame burn, right?
I wouldn't say direct would be the right word, but
Your Honor, I would object. He doesn't have he wasn't the doctor that actually performed it. I think he's just been outside of his scope of knowledge.
He's a former RN, and he said the skin was not black, and I'm just trying to explore, what does he mean?
I'm not so sure he
Thank
understands
you.
the temperature skin burns at, Your Honor, and when it becomes black.
Thank you. Let me just ask, from your experience as an RN and treating patients, have you experienced burn injuries?
yes.
All right. So you've seen people burn badly, not just Todd Stermer,
Yes.
and you've seen them where it's been blackened skin, right?
Yes. Yes. As
I don't want to be gross here, but like a hot dog that's been burned too long, you've seen skin like that from fires.
Yes.
This was more a thermal. You know anything about convective heat and radiant heat?
Yes.
All right. This is more those type of burns, wasn't it? What you saw.
I don't know if I can apply those terms. I would just say my description of the skin would be that it was oozing serous fluid, slightly puffy, but not blackened.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ms. Seiderman?
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Jury, any questions of this witness? Anyone? No questions. May he be excused from his subpoena, counsel?
I would ask that you please be excused from the subpoena, Your Honor.
Any objection, defense?
By all means, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You're all done, and you're excused from your subpoena obligation. Raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat. And once you are settled in, I'll have you, first off, the microphone, if you could put that right up to your mouth so the jury can hear you. That moves at the stem.
Okay.
Thank you. And if you could tell us your full name and spell your last.
My name is Michael Clark Matheny, M-A-T-H-E-N-Y.
Thank you, Ms. Seiderman.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Matheny, did you know Todd Stermer?
Yes.
How did you know him?
Was my neighbor.
How'd you know Linda Stermer?
She was my neighbor as well, and I sold hay to her.
Are they your direct neighbors?
Yes,
So your properties actually butt up to each other?
yes.
And can you tell me what happened on January 7th of 2007 on that afternoon?
Well, we were leaving our home, my girlfriend and I at that time, to go bowling. And as we left the house, walked onto our porch, I noticed a large fire at the Stermer residence. At the time, I didn't realize that it was their home. I just thought they had a big fire real close to the back of their home. So we get in our car, drive down the driveway, and we're down in a hole. We get up on top of the driveway, getting towards the road. I could tell that now it wasn't just a bonfire, that it was actually the house was on fire.
And so where were you living at that time?
Right next door to the Stermers.
What's the address? Do you know? And you said you were with your girlfriend, Connie?
Yes,
At the time, did you guys live together?
yes we did.
And would you have had to have driven past the Stermer home to go to on your way to the bowling alley?
Yes.
And so as you were driving by and you realized that it was a fire, what did you do?
We pulled down that driveway to the Stermer home.
At that time, did you know it was more than a bonfire, or did you or a fire outside? Did you think it was more?
No, I thought it was more. I could tell when I got most of the way down my driveway that it was the back of the house.
Down your driveway?
Down my driveway, so when we got onto the road, we could still see flames, and then we pulled down the driveway. We just knew it was a house fire.
So then you went into the Stermer driveway?
Yes.
And approximately, do you remember, is it a long driveway, short driveway?
It's a long driveway. I'm guessing 100 to 150 yards off the road.
Who was driving?
I was driving.
And what did you observe as you were driving in?
When we were driving in, we seen a van at the front of the house. So we see the van at the front of the house, and then the van made a maneuver back up to the north, and then it pulled back around to the back of the house, the west side of the house.
So I want to stop you. As you're driving towards the house, what direction is the van facing?
I believe the van was facing the south.
Which would be then towards the road, to the side?
It would be the side. So facing south, and I'm coming down the driveway. The road is to the east of that home.
Okay, so you're driving down. The van is then facing to the south as you're driving down.
Yes.
And then what does the van do?
Backs up to the north, far enough to where it could get around the back, drive to the north side of the house, and then come into the west side of the house.
So you saw the van then drive off the driveway to the north?
Yes.
And did the van stop at any point, or did it just keep on driving around?
Backed up, maneuvered to go behind the house, and then it parked behind the house on the west side of the house.
Did you see who was driving the van?
Yes.
Who was driving the van?
Linda Stermer was.
Did you make eye contact with her?
I don't recall making eye contact with her at that point, no.
How close did you get to the van?
Not very close to the van. I probably got, at that point, I was 40 yards.
You were about 40 yards away?
I parked up on the top side of the house, ran around the back side.
So when you continued then, the van had already gone to the back of the house and you parked at the top of the driveway?
Yes,
And that would have been close to the front door?
yes.
And then what did you do once you parked there?
I ran around the back side of the house just to see who was in the van and then to find out what was going on, you know, and at that time I believe Linda had jumped out of the van already, and I was yelling to her, you know, where's the kids? Where's Todd?
And did she respond to you?
Not at first, no.
What was she doing?
Just quite hysterical, yelling, just hands in the air. I don't know exactly, but very hysterical.
So did you actually see her get out of the van?
I can't recall, but I can't recall her actually getting out of the van, but
So when you
I'm
first
certain.
saw her, she was walking towards you from the van?
On the side of the van, possibly, just, we had some distance between us. So I can't recall exactly the distance between us. Don't recall exactly if I seen her step out of that van. But it was just the two of us there.
Nobody else was there at that time?
Nobody else was there.
So just you, Connie, and Linda?
Yes.
And as you were asking her, where's Todd, where's the kids, did she say anything?
No.
Was she able to then communicate to you at a point to tell you where Todd was?
Yes, finally, I was screaming, where's Todd? Where's the kids? Then she says, he's right there.
She said he's right there?
Yes.
And how far away was she pointing?
Once again, I'm not for certain, but she might have been 20 yards away at that point, you know.
And she's pointing 20 yards away?
Yes.
And
Basically
saying-
where I was, and then I looked and, I mean, he was right there. I just did not see him.
So he was close to you?
He was close to me, yeah.
How far? From you to me or farther?
Definitely, no, not, it was that close. Me to you or closer.
So let the record reflect approximately 15 to 20 feet? And so when you looked down and you didn't realize that was Todd?
Just never seen him. I was trying to get a grasp of the situation and try to figure out if no one, as hysterical as she was acting, I was trying to make sure there was nobody in that house. So I just did not see him. And then finally, where's Todd? Where's Todd? Where's the kids? I think she, going back on my memory, I think I got out of her that the kids weren't there, but and then I was still trying to find out where Todd was, and that's when she said he's right there.
Did you go over to where she was pointing?
Yes.
And did you see Todd?
Yes.
And what condition was he in?
Badly burned. Neck up was basically gone. I mean, it was in just a bad sight. Hands were badly burnt.
Was he clothed?
I didn't think he was clothed. I just seen a naked body.
What did you do once you saw that?
Ran up to my truck to tell my girlfriend. I don't know if I'd made a couple trips down, but I ran up to the truck at one point. It was either the second time or that time to tell my girlfriend, call 911. I think I'd made a couple passes down, and then when I seen Todd burnt, I definitely ran up to the truck to get some articles of clothing. It was cold out, to cover him, get under him, just some kind of comfort.
Did you find some clothes in your car?
Yes.
What type of clothing were you able to grab?
Just work hoodies, thermal stuff. It wasn't pants or nothing, but like hoodies, warm weather stuff that someone would wear as outer clothing that worked outside. Don't know what all was there, but I had lots of hoodies and thermal sweatshirts and things like that. So I'm certain that was just a pile of that stuff I brought.
Why did you have all that in your car?
Because I worked outside, and in the mornings it was cold, so you wear that to work. As it gets warmer, you take it off, throw it in the truck, and next day you repeat the process. And
So you grabbed the items and you went back to Todd.
yes,
And what was Linda doing at that point?
at one point she came over to the body, to Todd, I'm sorry, and just was hugging him and, oh Todd, something to that effect, and still hysterical, but she was on his body.
So when you say on his body, what do you mean?
Just covering him. She was on his body, on the ground with him.
Was she next to him? Was she on top of him?
I would call it she was on top of him.
Were they face to face?
Not face to face. I wouldn't say face to face. It was almost neck to face, chest to face. I don't.
But she was in this upper area.
Yes.
Did you see her trying to do CPR or mouth to mouth at that time?
No.
And then what did you do when you arrived back over to Todd? Did you cover him up with your clothing?
Yes. I'm sorry. I covered him, got some clothes under him, covered him with that same clothing, and that's about all I could do, I could think to do.
Was he face up or face down when you saw him?
I recall face up.
And nobody else had arrived at this point?
Not at that time, no.
So at the time you were covering him with the clothing, nobody else was there except for you and Linda and Connie?
Correct.
Did somebody eventually arrive?
Yes.
Do you recall who?
I don't remember if it was the fire chief or my neighbor, Mr. Mosali. I can't remember which one got there first, but at one point they both came over to Todd.
And did anyone try to render aid at that point?
Not that I noticed. They weren't rendering aid at that point, no.
Did you assist in trying to move Todd?
Yes.
What was that discussion?
I can't remember who suggested it, but the fire was quite intense. There was a fuel oil tank right beside where we were, there with Todd, and someone suggested we got to get him away from the side of the house. So I don't recall if it was myself and another person. I believe it was Mr. Mosali's son. We went behind the house looking for something to lay Todd on and then carry him away from the side of the house. And we found, I believe it was a kayak or some kind of a little boat back behind their house, and we grabbed it, brought it up to the top of where his body was.
So when you say a kayak, I'm picturing something that's kind of angled up, like that you actually paddle in the river. Was it like that?
It was just a small little craft, but I want to say it wasn't like a canoe. It was more like a kayak, I want to say. And there was a cutout area in it to where you could lay somebody, and I don't know if it was on a platform or not. To where you could get on four corners and take it away or not, but that's what we came up with, and I think that's what it was.
And so then you assisted then in putting him on in that kayak or that transport?
I believe I did. There was think at that time, 4 of us, I believe, and yes, we got him in that craft and got him away from the house.
Do you know if he was breathing?
I wouldn't be able to say if he was breathing. I never seen the chest moving that I can recall.
Did he say anything?
No.
The items that you put on, you said they were work clothes?
Yes.
Yeah, where do you work?
A family business. It's Clark's Auto Parts. It's a salvage yard. It's what you would call a junkyard. We deal in car parts, used car parts, and scrap iron.
Are you a behind the desk kind of a guy, or are you out in the field kind of a guy?
I'm a desk guy now, but then I was a field guy.
And you said that a lot of times you had those clothes on and it would get hot and you'd throw them in the back.
Yep. Yes.
When you were driving to go bowling, I mean, do those clothes stink?
No, I don't think they did. I didn't smell them.
So they didn't smell anything in the car?
No.
And when you put them on, Todd, would you have put them on, Todd, if you could smell anything on them?
No.
I have no further questions for this witness. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
We are now here in late March of 2025. This fire happened 2007, 18 years ago. You're testifying, you're trying to give us your best memory, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. But you would agree you probably had a better memory back in 2007 or 2010?
Yes.
You said you drove up, first of all, you saw the smoke, and then you realized, actually, as you were starting to come down your driveway, there's a fire. It's not a bonfire or something like that. There's a
That's what
house fire.
Yes.
Right.
When I was still in my driveway, I noticed the house was on fire. Yes.
Yeah. What kind of vehicle did you have?
I had an F-150 extended cab.
All-wheel drive, four-wheel drive?
Yes.
You come up to the driveway, and I'm not real sure how Can you see this?
Yes.
No. So if I make sure I'm right, we've been looking at the north being this way, okay?
Yes.
So you are here, right?
Yes.
And then Stermers are here,
Yes.
and then Dr. Masala is here.
Yes.
So you come from your driveway, and you're about, I think, 400 some yards, your property. You own a lot of property, right? Like a lot of acres.
That piece on that side of the road's 40 acres.
Okay. So you come down your driveway, and then you come up to Stermer's house, right?
Yes.
Now,
I'd never been in it. I've been in their driveway, I think, before delivering hay, but
Okay.
never inside.
You know, it had like a bay window area in the back.
It was a walkout, but I don't know how it was configured
If I
back
just
there.
showed you, this is, and I'm just gonna show you for the record, this is Scott Leroy's picture of exhibit B.9. It's an aerial after the fire, but I will represent to you, it's been told to us that north is this way, to the right.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Am I right?
Can I see that again? Were you just, yes, north is that way, yes.
So, pardon?
Is this
It
an
is
exhibit admitted?
B.9, I'm gonna move for the exhibit. You can look it
Okay,
up,
okay.
unless council wants to stipulate right now, but we'll look it up. Scott Leroy. Yeah.
Do you want to admit it?
I mean, we're gonna, Your Honor, just for the record, we're gonna do the same exhibit in digital format later on during Mr. Leroy's testimony, so I don't know if we want to duplicate.
I'll just move for, for the admission of B9 at this point.
Okay, so
Thank you.
they can go,
So-
I'll admit it as defense exhibit B9.
If I show you this, you came up the driveway, right?
Yes.
Which would be from the bottom, from the east,
From the east, yes.
heading east to west. And ultimately, you saw Linda's vehicle in the back, correct? In the
Correct.
west.
Yes.
But first, you saw her backing up from the northeast end of the house,
About where your marker was, right?
all right?
To some degree, yes.
And kind of here at the bottom, right?
Yes.
She was sideways to you. She wasn't head on.
From my memory, I believe she was
Sideways.
sideways, seen me coming down the drive,
Heading backwards?
and then back towards the north to get room between, because there was a little side, it wasn't really a driveway, but they were kind of using it as a driveway to get behind the house. It
Right,
wasn't
there's no formal driveway,
Nothing formal.
just kind of a path where people have driven. Fair?
What I recall, fair, yes.
All right. And not even a true two-track, because it's grassy.
There was grass there, so like I said, I hadn't been there, other than deliver hay, so I don't know. I just know there was grass there, so,
Okay.
yes.
So you see her, and you park out in front, right?
Yes.
You see Linda driving back toward the back, right?
Yes.
It's a high-stress situation for you even though, right?
Yes.
All right. So you run toward the back, am I right?
Yes.
And you actually ran past Todd Stermer once,
Yes.
did not see him.
Did not see him.
Then you have testified before, you came back to the car to tell Connie, call 911. Right?
Yes, if that was in my test, I couldn't remember which time I told her to call 911, but yes.
And on that time, you ran by him and you didn't see him again.
Correct.
And he's laying on the ground.
Yes.
Then, after you're done telling Connie, call 911, you run back to Linda.
Yes.
You didn't see him then.
Correct.
So 3 times you did not see Todd Stermer as he was on the ground. Fair?
That's fair.
And we'll get to what you talked, how you found out about Todd Stermer in a second. What I want to do, though, Your Honor, is play that 911 call. You told Connie to call 911, right?
Yes.
You know she did call 911.
She said she did.
Well, do you remember being on the phone for a second with 911?
Me personally?
Yes.
I don't remember. No.
Okay. If you heard your voice, you'd know it.
Yes.
And if you heard her voice, you would know her voice.
Yes.
All right.
Your Honor, I'm going to object at this point just for hearsay. I mean, he can play his voice, but I mean, honestly, at this point, he doesn't even remember being on the phone with 911.
This is the classic situation of 1, an excited utterance, and 2, a present sense impression. So it's not. And it's not offered for the truth of the matter asserted, so it's not even hearsay.
Why is it offered?
Because it's offered to show the sense of the trauma and excitement in the scene, which is why we have an excited utterance if it were hearsay. But it's not offered for the truth of actually what's being stated in the conversation.
It's not a present sense impression.
Pardon?
It's not a present sense impression.
No, I'm more, I think maybe an excited utterance, however.
Clearly an excited utterance.
But again, it's he doesn't even remember the phone call. He doesn't remember if it's even his voice on the phone.
Well, we could send the jury out and have him hear it.
That's fine.
Okay. Jury, I'm going to send you out briefly.
Right before it. I don't know.
7030250.
It's my address. This is the house right before it.
Okay.
There's people here.
You know if anybody lives there?
I do. Yes, they live here.
Is anybody inside you?
I don't know. I see people right now. I don't know if anyone's inside.
670.
It is raining.
Is it not north or south of you?
It's, oh my God. It's
Is it more
north of
towards?
me.
It's
Yeah,
north
it's
of
right
you?
before my house. It's right before, so it would be the number before me.
Okay, we'll have the fire department on the way. What's your name, please?
My name is Todd Calhoun. It's Linda Stermer's house.
Linda Stermer?
Yes. Oh my
Okay.
You heard the woman on the phone or on the 911 call?
Yes.
You recognize her voice?
Yes.
That Connie Stermer? Connie Calhoun?
Yes.
And you lived with her
Yes.
several years?
Yes.
Recognize her voice?
I do.
And is that her voice? Do you recognize that?
That's her voice, yes.
And you recognize that as your voice? On there?
I didn't
was
hear
just
my
asking.
voice.
Oh, his voice isn't on there yet? Okay.
3:31 p.m., 7 seconds, January 7, 2007.
911 emergency.
There's a fire. There's a house on fire.
A house on
Right
there?
there. They live here.
Is anybody inside you?
I don't know. I see people right now. I don't know if anyone's inside.
670.
It is raining.
Is it not north or south of you?
It's, oh my God. It's
Is it more
north of
towards?
me.
It's
Yeah,
north
it's
of
right
you?
before my house. It's right before, so it would be the number before me.
Okay, we'll have the fire department on the way. What's your name, please?
My name is Todd Calhoun. It's Linda Stermer's house.
Linda Stermer?
Yes. Oh my
Okay.
God, she's outside. Well, I don't know if people.
Right now?
She's outside, but she's screaming something to my boyfriend.
Okay. Can you see what she's screaming?
I don't know. They're like trying to get near the house. Like I don't know if someone's there. She's freaking out.
Inside or not?
Oh my God. Please don't tell me someone's in there.
Are you able to go outside with your cell phone and see if...
Yes.
We just want to know if anybody's inside or not.
Is there anybody inside? Is there? Oh my God! Yes!
There's someone inside? Yeah? Okay, calm down. We got the fire department on the way there, okay? Okay. Yeah, someone's inside. Your husband outside with ma'am. Yeah, I need you to calm down so you can help me, okay? Okay, just calm down so you can help me. Do you know how many people are inside?
Is there anybody else inside?
She said someone's inside.
Yes, there is house.
Okay. Is that Linda in the background?
Yes.
Okay. Where's your husband at?
He's right here.
Okay. Can I talk to him?
Yes. Can you run? She knows I'm her husband. It's okay, Todd.
What's your husband's name?
His name is Todd.
What's your husband's name?
My name is Mike. I can't talk to him. He's very avoidant. We're trying to call him off our phone.
Is your husband inside her house?
No, he's outside on fire.
Okay. Can I talk to your husband, please?
He's outside.
Johnny? Johnny? Okay, can you give the phone to your husband so I can talk to him?
Hello?
Sir?
Yeah.
Okay, is anybody still in the house?
No one's in the house as far as I know.
No one is in the house?
But the man is...
Hello?
Voice 102 responding 1534. A yellow structure.
Sir, the male voice that was on that tape, was that you?
Sounded like me.
Connie Calhoun, you recognize her voice. You haven't been to any other fires at the Stermer house, have you?
No.
All right, especially on January 6, 2007?
Correct.
That would have been your voice when she handed you the phone because 911 wanted to talk to her husband, you.
Yes.
Your Honor, the foundation is laid. It's not even offered for the truth and matter asserted. It doesn't matter what is being asserted.
Anything else, Ms. Ziderby?
I object, Your Honor. These are statements made in response to questioning. They are not excited utterances. So when they're being reflective answers to responses to questions, it's taken out of the excited utterance phase of somebody saying, oh, there's a fire. You have hearsay upon hearsay. You don't have the original dispatcher here or anybody to authenticate that tape. There's a plethora of problems here, Your Honor. I mean, he may recognize his voice, but these are not excited utterances when they're in response to questioning.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Counsel, I'm going to overrule the objection. First off, I find this is not hearsay. He's not trying to prove that there was a fire in the house through this 911 call. He's not trying to prove whether Todd Stermer was in the house or not. He's trying to, I believe he indicated, show the excitement of the situation. Even if it were offered for the truth of the matter asserted, I conclude that it comes under the excited utterance exception to the hearsay rule. It arises out of a startling occasion. It must be made before there has been time to contrive and misrepresent. I find that to be the case here. And it must relate to the circumstances of the startling occasion. So I find that all of those apply in this case, and I don't think because they're responding to questions that it takes it out of that. So I'll overrule the objection, allow the 911.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Bring in the jury, please. Sir, you're still under oath, okay? Mr. Mueller?
Thank you. Sir, you told your then-girlfriend, Connie Calhoun, call 911, and she did, right?
Yes.
All right.
Are you moving to admit that before you play it?
I'm going to move for the admission of Exhibit HH.
Your Honor, do we have an actual, like a flash drive or something that's going to be provided for the jury to have in the, we don't see an exhibit?
Absolutely will.
You said yes, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's exhibit. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
You can, so admitted.
3:31 p.m. 7 seconds, January 7, 2007.
911 emergency.
There's a fire. There's a house on fire.
A house on fire, where?
County Road 215, 67030. My address is the house right before it. I don't know.
030-250?
It's my address. This is the house right before it.
Okay.
There's people here.
You know if anybody lives there?
I do, yes, they live here.
Is anybody inside you?
I don't know. I see people right now. I don't know if anyone's inside.
670-250.
It is flaming.
Is it north or south of you?
Oh my God. It's
Is it more
north
towards?
of me.
It's
Yeah,
north
it's
of
right
you?
before my house. It's right before, so it would be the number before me.
Okay, we'll have the fire department on the way. What's your name, please?
My name is Connie Calhoun. It's Linda Stermer's house.
Linda Stermer?
Yes. Oh my
Okay.
God, she's outside, but I don't know if people's in it. Oh my God.
She is outside now?
She's outside, but she's screaming something to my boyfriend.
Okay. Can you see what she's screaming?
I don't know. They're like trying to get near the house. Like, I don't know if it's there. She's freaking out.
Outside or not?
Oh my God. Please don't tell me someone is there.
Are you able to go outside with your cell phone and see if...
Yes.
We just want to know if anybody's inside or not.
Is there anybody inside? Is there? Oh my God! Yes!
There's somebody inside?
Yes!
Yeah? department on the way there, okay? Okay. Someone's inside. Is your husband outside with Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I need you to calm down so you can help me, okay? Okay, just calm down so you can help me. Do you know how many people are inside?
Is anybody else inside?
She said someone's inside. Is that Linda in the background?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Where's your husband at?
He's right here.
Okay. Can I talk to him?
Yes. Can you run? She knows I'm her husband. It's okay, Todd.
What's your husband's name?
His name is Todd.
What's your husband's name?
My name is Mike. I can't talk to him. He's very avoidant. We're trying to call him all our phone.
Is your husband inside her house?
No, he's outside on fire.
Okay. Can I talk to your husband, please? Johnny? 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 Okay, can you give the phone to your husband so I can talk to him?
Hello?
Sir?
Yeah.
Okay, is anybody still in the house?
No one's in the house as far as I know.
No one is in the house?
But the man is...
Hello?
Sir, does that adequately capture the chaos?
Yes.
And that's what you observed in Linda Stermer as you were on the scene, fair?
Fair, yes.
And when you ran back and forth the third time you ran to talk to Linda Stermer, you were yelling at her, "Where are your kids?" She couldn't even answer you, right?
Yes.
And then finally, you and she started looking around. "Where's Todd? Where's Todd?" You weren't getting an answer, right?
Correct.
And then she pointed, "There he is," right?
To my record, yes.
You then went back to your truck, right?
Yes.
And got clothes, you said, from, you have, what'd you say you had? F-150?
Yes.
Was it from the bed of the truck or it's one of those with the two doors?
It's an extended cab. I got it out of the back seat.
Okay. You work, and you and I have talked before, right?
Yes.
I think you call it just an old school junkyard.
At that time, yes.
Scrapyard in 2007. And you were a hands-on guy, right?
Yes.
And you deal in vehicles where you got to take them apart, strip them, right?
Yes.
So you have gasoline and fuel on your clothes, just kind of the course of your work. It's what you do.
It's possible, yes.
All right. So you got clothes, and because obviously Todd, we've heard, is naked from the waist down, to cover him up for privacy or whatever, you put several pieces of clothing on him, right?
Yes.
I think you said a couple hoodies. Remember a flannel jacket?
Don't know exactly what it looked like, but that's something that I would have, yes.
If I show you the reference, your recollection. A piece of clothes, red flannel jacket.
It looks like something that I would wear to work, yes.
If I tell you, and we'll talk about this later with other witnesses, if I tell you this is an item of clothing, that red flannel jacket, that he took off of Todd Stermer after the fire, you wouldn't have any reason to disagree. That's what you put on.
Correct.
All right. Now, you folks, we've heard from Dr. Masali before you. Dr. Masali said his son, and you said his son and you found this dinghy-type boat, right?
Yes.
Kayak, you said?
Something, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something watercraft.
Okay, some kind of watercraft, but it was about 7 or 8 feet long. You recall you've told me that?
I don't know the exact length of what it was.
Roughly.
Roughly, yes.
7 or 8 feet long. And you dragged it, you found that actually on the other side of the house, right?
I believe we found it on the west side of the house.
Toward the back here, you said?
Right, about near that shed right there.
All right,
somewhere
brother.
in that area is where it was.
All right. In the upper left corner of this photograph that we said was B9, there's a shed.
Yes.
And somewhere in this area, you don't remember where, but you found this boat.
Yes.
And you had to drag it all the way over to where Todd was.
Yes.
Was kind of in this northwest corner by that drive, that little grassy area, right?
I was thinking it was northeast.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Let me back up. There was a green fuel tank that's
Yes.
on the north side of the house, right, pretty much in the middle of the house.
Correct.
And Todd was closer to that.
Yes, I would say.
When you first arrived and saw him, right?
Yes.
All right. So picture we just not the scale drawing, my crappy little drawing. You found him somewhere here, you put him in a boat, this is from Dr. Masali, and you took him more to the side of the road.
Yes.
Side of the big drive, right?
Yes.
All right. But you had put your clothes on him before he went in the boat.
Correct.
And as you sit here, you did not notice an odor of gasoline or any other petroleum product emanating from Todd Stermer before you put his clothes on him, fair?
I did not.
All right. If you would have noticed a strong odor of gasoline, fuel, whatever, you would remember that, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. You would have noticed it because here's a man who was on fire, there's a house fire. Why do we smell gasoline on him? Fair?
Fair.
Yeah. Let me show you if I can show you something. See if I can refresh your memory. I'm going to show you an affidavit you had signed back on February 2, 2021. You see that? Bottom left.
Yes.
And that's affidavit of Michael Matheny. That's your signature.
Yes.
On paragraph 3, when I got to Todd Stermer, there was no odor of gasoline or any other petroleum product emanating from his body or clothes. If there had been, I would have noticed it. Did I read that right?
Yes.
That jog your memory that if you had actually smelled gasoline or some kind of fuel, you'd have noticed it.
Yes.
I'll take that back from you. As you sit here 18 years later, do you think that when you first laid eyes on Todd Stermer after Linda and you were looking for him and she pointed him out, that you think he was on his back?
Yes.
Are you certain about that, or are you just 18 years later, best memory I can give you?
No, I'm certain about that. He was on his back.
Okay. You don't know how he got on his back, right?
No.
Am I right? You do not know how he got on his back. Would that be right?
That would be correct.
Thank you. Do you remember what she was wearing, Linda Stermer?
No.
Do you remember whether she was wearing, that she didn't have any shoes on?
I don't recall.
One way or another?
One way or other. I don't remember what she was wearing.
Give me 1 second, Your Honor. You were interviewed by police officers on the scene, right?
Yes.
And then you were interviewed by an insurance investigator. You remember that? A couple days later, within a week or so?
I don't remember that.
Do you recall a guy's name, James Shinsky?
I don't.
All right. If he has a record from just a week after the fire that you said you didn't notice any odors, any reason to disagree with that?
Yeah, if I signed something,
It would be consistent with what you just testified to us now.
right, but I don't remember that conversation.
He has no memory. We talked to him. He has no memory of what he said.
One, this is cross-examined. I can ask him, if you said this, and he's got it in a report, you have no reason to disagree with it.
I'll sustain that objection.
All right. I don't have any other questions for you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Seiderbean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. And Mr. Yeah, all right. So when we listen to that tape, it sounds like it's a lot more than just chaotic.
Yeah. I'd never heard that before, yeah. Yes.
It actually even brought out emotion in you listening to it. So not only were you chaotic, Connie was chaotic, people were running around and screaming,
Yes.
including Connie. You were panicked,
Yes.
still even traumatizing to this day.
Yes.
So you were not in a good frame of mind.
Not at that time.
So I want to clarify one of the questions that Attorney Mueller asked you. He said that you and Linda were looking around the property saying, "Where's Todd? Where's Todd?" But that's not how I remembered your direct.
And that's not how I remember it, no.
So I believe you testified that she walked up to you, or she was walking towards you from the van. Is that correct?
There was some distance between us. She wasn't in the van. I'm still asking her, "Where's Todd?" And at some point, I don't exactly remember how long or if she told me the kids weren't there, but at one point, there was still distance between us. She said, "Right there."
So you weren't looking for him.
I wasn't looking for him, no.
She just pointed to him.
Yes.
So she knew where he was.
Objection. Formal question. Call for him to speculate you knew where he was in the mind of another person? Really?
But if you can rephrase it.
So she said to you what?
He's right there.
And she was pointing directly at him?
I don't remember the pointing, but she just said he's right there, and there he was.
And again, you were not in the best frame of mind.
Correct.
So did you smell the burning fire when you were on scene?
Not that I recall. There was a fire. I don't know what I was smelling, but I don't remember what I was smelling. There was a fire.
Do you remember smelling burnt flesh?
No.
Do you remember smelling burnt hair?
No.
Do you remember smelling the mud as you were kneeling over Todd?
No.
Did you write that affidavit that Mr. Mueller just read from? Did you write that out for him?
My signature was on it, but it was typed out.
Did you type it out?
No,
So you did not type those statements?
no.
And you know from being at your profession, you know what oil, fuel oil, those types of things smell like, correct?
Correct.
And when you were in a better state of mind, thinking you were going bowling in your vehicle, did you smell anything in your vehicle at that time?
No.
If you would have had clothes that smelled of work, would you have taken them out of your vehicle?
Gasoline, I would have, yes.
At any time were you down by Todd's feet?
Not that I recall.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Yes, please. Sir, you know what an affidavit is, right? It's a
Sworn statement?
It's a sworn statement where you swear to tell the truth.
Yes.
And you read it and understood it, because you can read and write, right?
Correct.
And you agreed with it, otherwise you wouldn't have signed it.
Correct.
Now, as to this question about gasoline or the clothing in your truck, you have never experienced putting clothing with gasoline on it, embedded in it just from your work, on some kind of hot surface or hot body, right? Never did that before.
No.
So you don't know what would have transferred from your clothes to any clothes on Todd Stermer, right?
No, I don't.
Oh. Linda was out of her van when you were coming toward her, I think, did you say 40 yards away?
I would think 40, I mean, that's ballpark, give or take.
I just want to make sure we're clear. When she pointed out, there's Todd, how far were you from her?
20 yards, 25 yards at that point.
Okay.
She had made up the distance from the van to me at that point.
Right. I just wanted to be clear. She wasn't just stepping out of her van going, there's Todd.
No.
She previously knew where Todd was. It was, she's the distance from you, you're 20-some yards away, and she points, there's Todd.
Yes.
Like a discovery. True?
She said, there's Todd.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
No, Your Honor.
Jury, any questions of him? No question? Oh, I've got one hand going up. I have some questions from the jury, okay? Sir, what time did you arrive at the Stermer residence?
From some testimony that I gave, we leave our house at 3:30 to go bowling. It's in Pawpaw, so it would have been 3:30 to 3:45.
Okay. How long were you on the scene?
Till late into the evening. I don't remember how exactly long, but quite a few hours.
Did fire trucks arrive with sirens at the time of the recorded call to 911?
At one point they did. I don't remember when they showed up exactly, but there was definitely fire trucks on scene.
Okay. At the time of the 911 call, or?
At the 911 call, there was just Connie, Linda, and I.
Did you follow the same route behind the house as Linda Stermer when you arrived?
No, I kept parked on the top side of the house, the east side of the house.
Were the clothes well saturated and or soiled that you placed on Todd?
No.
Yeah, I may have asked you this one already, but let me know if I did. If Linda said he's right there as you were walking up to her, was it on your first initial trip around the house?
No, it wasn't.
Your Honor, can I get that question asked again?
If Linda said he's right there as you were walking up to her, was it on your first initial trip around the house?
It was not.
Okay. Thank you. Counsel, any questions briefly in light of those questions and answers?
I don't have any,
Just a few. If the 911 call was 3:31, which we've heard, you with me?
Yes.
3:31 in the afternoon. You had been on the scene for at least a few minutes. You went down, remember, down to try to find Linda, find out what's going on, then you ran up.
I'm going to object. I think we need to structure this more as a question. I feel like counsel is actually testifying.
I'm laying the background of what he testified.
Okay. Just ask the question then.
You had been on scene for a few minutes, right?
When,
By the time the 911 call was made, because you had to go
Correct.
down. All right. And there were no fire. You were the ones who called 911, as far as you know.
correct.
All right.
Just saying this off memory, prior testimony, is better served.
Your clothes may not have been saturated with fuel, but just in normal course of what you do, fuel gets on your clothes, right?
Could have. I'm not saying there was fuel on those clothes, but if there was, it wouldn't be uncommon.
It certainly wouldn't surprise you.
It wouldn't surprise me.
When you're in the course of your work, you're also laying tools on things, and sometimes maybe chainsaws and other things can get on your clothes.
I would ask that these be rephrased in terms of questions.
It's getting cumulative because it was already covered in cross,
One
but
more
I'll let you
question,
ask
Your
one more
Honor.
question.
Thank you. Tools like chainsaws could get on your clothes, and they have fuel in them.
They could have. I don't know if they were back there, but they could have.
And that wouldn't be unusual.
It wouldn't be unusual.
Thank you.
But again, you would have smelt it inside of your cab as you were going bowling that day.
Correct.
Thank you. No further questions.
Jury, any other questions? Seat. And you can move the microphone close to your mouth so the jury can hear you. And if you could start by telling us your full name and spelling your last, please.
Okay, my name is Kim Jean Thompson, Thompson.
Thank you, Ms. Zyderman.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson, did you know Todd Stermer?
Yes,
How did you know him?
as a friend and a neighbor. He was also my daughter's softball coach.
How close was your home to his home?
Oh, approximately 2 miles, 2.5 miles.
And did you know Linda Stermer?
Yes.
And how did you know her?
Through our children, we also shared a love of chocolate labs and horses.
And when did you know the Stermers in 2007?
Yes,
And did you become aware of a fire that happened at their home?
yes.
How did you become aware of that?
My cousin heard it on the scanner, and she knew that we were friends with Todd and Linda, and she got a hold of us and said that there was a fire, and so we immediately ran over to provide comfort to both of them, thinking that it was their fire of their home.
So when you got there, do you recall if there was anyone else there at the time?
There was the fire chief, Stephen Leach. I believe the assistant chief at the time was Doug Harrington, and he was there. And one of the fire department vehicles was there. And the only other ones that we saw were Mathany's, Mike. but I was focused on Linda.
So were you able to drive down the driveway, or how did you get to the house?
We didn't want to impede any of the rescue vehicles, so we parked our truck along the road on the opposite, or near the driveway, but not in the driveway. We didn't want to impede rescue vehicles.
Because at the time, were there any fire trucks there?
There was just one at that point in time. And after we got there, then, they came rolling in.
And were you able to then make contact with anybody to approach the house?
The only ones we saw at that point in time were Doug Harrington, and then I saw Linda, and I just immediately went to her.
So you just ran down the driveway?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so where did you first see Linda at?
On the hill to the north side of the house, near where Todd was laying. They were, at that point, they were still trying to administer first aid, and so I just ran to her and wrapped her in my arms.
And were you able to speak to her at that time?
Very little. We were all so emotional at that point. I was just trying to provide comfort at that point.
And who was with you? Who came with you to the house?
My husband was with me, and then also my cousin Annette, who was there as well.
And then what did your husband do?
I believe he went to where Todd was, and he came back immediately, and he said, "Do not go near there." The dogs were, like I said, we had a love of dogs, and one of their dogs was actually one of my dogs that I raised and trained to breed, and so the dogs were trying to jump. One of the dogs was trying to jump back into the house, and so my husband was trying to corral the dogs. Coco came right to me because, like I said, she used to be mine, so she ran right to me, and so we were able to keep her safe. But then my husband was trying to get the other one.
So there were two dogs?
Yes.
Do you recall what Linda was wearing at that time?
No, I don't remember the specific clothes. I know that it was for a January day. It was actually very pleasant. It started out that way. And then it kind of started to get a little less pleasant. And one of the firefighters, and I don't remember if it was Chief Leach or who it was, brought a blanket. And so she had the blanket wrapped around her.
Did you notice if she had anything on her feet?
I did notice that she did not have anything on her feet. She was in her stocking feet.
And did you do anything to help with providing anything for her feet?
Yes, because especially when it started to get sleety and rainy, I was worried that her feet would get cold, and so I asked her what size shoes she wore, and she told me, and I knew that one of my aunts wore a 9 narrow, and so I let my cousin Annette know, who then contacted her mother and gathered up clothes and things for her and shoes so that she would have something on her feet.
And did they ultimately bring those clothes and shoes to the scene?
Yes.
And were you there then when Linda was able to change into those clothes and
Yes.
shoes? Where were you when she was changing into those clothes?
I was, I believe she put the shoes on right away, but then when she changed clothes, one of the, I don't remember if it was a rescue or if it was a police officer, but they had her go into like a van, and she changed clothes in that.
And did you see what they did with the clothes?
I just saw them put them in a bag.
How long did you stay on scene?
Quite a while. Like I said, I mean, she had no one else there with her from the family, and I knew that she needed somebody. I couldn't imagine going through that alone.
Did you stay into the evening hours?
I believe I stayed until she did have someone come, one of her family members, I believe. I don't know for sure who it was, but then they did take her, and then we left the scene.
Did she talk to you at all about what had happened that day while you were on scene?
No, she was very emotional. And then I think about the only thing she did ask was when things were, I guess, wrapping up and she was getting ready to go, her concern was, would you take the dogs? Would you take care of the dogs for me? And we said, of course.
So you ended
So
up...
we took the dogs with us, and we took care of them until they went back to family.
So did you have an opportunity to talk with Linda after the fire?
Yes. She came to the house a few times, and we sat at our kitchen table, and we were just trying to all make sense of what had happened. And so yes, she did come a few times, to check on the dogs, and then also, we were friends, and so came and we had been there, and so yeah, we did share a few times.
Did you ever ask her about what had happened?
Yes.
And do you remember what she told you when you first asked her?
I don't remember the order of what we were told, but it did change each time. And one time it was he had a cold, and she had given him some Benadryl, and she thought that maybe he was drowsy or sleeping from that, and that when whatever happened, he couldn't get out.
Did she say where he was?
In his chair in the living room.
Did she say where she was?
She said she was in the basement.
Did she say what she was doing?
I believe she said she was doing laundry.
And then did she tell you how she, or why, or if she went upstairs?
She said she heard something, and she ran up the stairs and saw that there was a fire, and she couldn't get up. And so then she went out the walkout basement door and ran around to the van to try to get help.
Did she say she ever saw Todd before she ran out the basement door?
At that point, no. Later, she did say that she did see him, and that he ran out as she was trying to drive the van to go get help, and that was all. Just that she saw him when she was in the van trying to get help.
So that was at a later date?
Correct.
That she said she saw him outside?
Correct.
And you said that as you talked to her then, the story changed a little bit?
Yes.
Do you recall then the next version, or what the next thing she told you?
One of the other things she had said was that he was smoking pot, and she thinks that he caught himself on fire.
Did you ever know Todd to smoke pot?
I didn't know.
Did she ever talk to you about anything about heating with kerosene?
Yes, we knew that they heated with kerosene as they were building the home. They had a kerosene portable heater in the living room, and that they would fill the kerosene heater there.
Did she say that the kerosene heater was being used that day?
I don't recall.
At one point when you were helping with the dogs, did you see the van?
Yes.
And tell me about when you saw the van.
We were trying, Coco was under control, the chocolate lab, and we were trying to get control of the other dog, and he kept trying to get back in the house, and so we were really worried that he would do that and get hurt or injured or killed. So my husband and I kind of tried to corral him, and he ran around to the walkout level, and when we ran down there after the dog, I saw the van door open. The van was running, and I observed what looked like blood on the front fender, and I believe bumper, but definitely on the fender. And I remember my husband and I looked at each other, and we both said the same thing: something's not right.
Could you tell if the van was running at that time?
Yes, it was running.
Did you ever ask her about the van?
No.
Did you ever tell her what you saw?
No.
Did she ever tell you anything about the van?
No. Other than at the beginning, she said she was in the van to get help.
When you were there on scene, did you see any smoke or flames?
Yes. When we got there, there was smoke coming out of the lower windows, and it was shocking to me how quickly even with fire department there, how quickly the home was within. It seemed like within a minute and a half, there were flames coming out of the roof. It was so fast. It was shocking.
So when you got there, it was just more smoke?
Correct. We could see a little bit of flame in the front lower level windows, but we didn't see any smoke or flames coming out of the upper story until, like I said, it was a very, very short period of time, and then there's smoke and flames everywhere.
So I want to just be clear, there's the walkout level.
Correct.
There's the main level,
Right.
and then there's a second story, correct?
Correct.
So when you say when you first got there and you saw the smoke, you're talking about the main level?
The main level, as we were coming up the driveway, it's an inclined driveway, and as we got closer up on top of the hill, we observed the smoke coming out of those windows. The main level front windows, roadside windows.
Did you ever talk to Linda about where the boys were?
Yes, that was our first concern. Where are the children? And we asked that, immediately when we first saw her. Where are the children? And she said the children were safe. They were gone. I think she said they were in Kalamazoo. But she did say that the children were safe, because we were very, very concerned that they might still be in the home.
Did she say why they went to Kalamazoo?
No.
When you saw the van, how close was it to the back of the house?
I would say within 5-6 feet of the little walkout door.
Were you ever interviewed that day by police officers on scene?
No, we got there before the police officers were there, and then what we later found as we left, that there were police stationed at the base of the driveway taking the names of everybody, but we didn't realize that was going on, I didn't realize that was going on. So we never, as far as I know, we were never on that list because we were there before that took place.
And then when you left, you just left?
Right.
Is it safe to say that that was a pretty chaotic scene that day?
Very, very, very traumatic and emotional, yes.
And do you see Linda Stermer in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Yep. Could you point to her and describe her by something she's wearing? Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Kelly?
morning, Ms. Thompson. How long had you known the Stermers?
Oh, since before they built their home. The children were young and in Little League together, and Todd was a coach. And I think Linda and I bonded initially with her 2 chocolate labs. I was a chocolate lab lover as well. So we just kind of bonded, I think, over our children and our dogs. And we both are horse lovers and both had horses. And so we bonded over those things. And they were a neighbor. And in our area, neighbors look out for each other.
Okay. And so, in reference to the home that was destroyed by the fire, was there another home that they lived in the area that you knew at that time as far as the relationship?
I knew they lived in the area because our children went to school together at that point in time before they were in Little League together, and Todd was our daughter's coach. I don't recall where exactly they lived prior to that home. I know where Linda lived after the fire, but I don't recall where they lived before that. I know at one point they lived in Lawrence, kind of across the road from Sills Bar Market, but I don't know if that predated the home or while they were building the home or if it was after.
So they lived in Lawrence?
Yes.
Before they built the house that was destroyed in Lawrence, is that right?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. But you never went to that home?
Not that I recall.
Okay. And so the relationship that initiated with you and Ms. Stermer was a result of the children and the love for your horses and your dogs, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did y'all participate in any type of competition with the horses or the dogs?
No. She did assist us, me, in when I was establishing my breeding operation for the chocolate labs. She did help facilitate finding the stud dog that I used, and like I say, it was a mutual love. They bought one of our puppies, and then later Coco, which was the second dog that they got from me. It was, I guess, like all I could say is that we had a mutual love of dogs and horses and kids.
So that the horses that y'all used, did y'all raise horses for sale or were they for competition?
My horses were just for pleasure riding. At that point, Linda had rescued some horses too from out of state, I believe, and so they were caretakers for those horses, those rescue horses.
Okay. So over the years, how many years would you say that you had known the Stermers?
Oh, that's difficult. I would say 3 years possibly before the fire.
Okay. And so this unfortunate incident occurred in 2007. Were you contacted by any law enforcement agency after the fire to give any type of report or interview?
No.
So in 2007, did you make any attempt to contact anyone in reference to any information you had about what you saw that day?
No.
Have you ever been contacted by the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office?
Just recently.
And when you say recently, how recent is that?
Possibly, I don't know the exact date. It was before we left for Florida for the winter.
In 2024, 2025?
24,
2024.
correct.
So from 2007 to 2024, you had never been contacted by anyone from the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office or the State Police Department for the state of Michigan or the State Fire Department or any law enforcement officer. Is that
No.
correct? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Were you a little surprised when you were contacted in 2024 for an incident that happened in 2007?
No,
You wasn't surprised?
no.
Ms. Thompson, had you ever seen a house fire before?
No.
You mentioned the fact that you were aware that kerosene was on the property as part of the household use of heat. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you ever visit the home to see the location of their heating system or how it was installed?
The only time I saw the kerosene heater was during construction when they were in the process of building the home, and it was in the lower level as you walked in. It was like kind of like right there in the open area when it was under construction.
Were you aware of how much kerosene was used on the, as far as the heating system in the house?
No.
Okay. Do you ever see any gasoline on the property?
It was a farm. We all have gasoline on our farms.
Okay. You ever see any of the machinery that they had on the property?
Tractors,
How many?
lawnmowers.
Okay. Now, you don't know what caused the fire.
No.
Okay. And when you arrived at the scene, your cousin is Annette Grandel. Is
Correct.
That right? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And the reason why you came to the location, was it because you got a telephone call from Miss Grant, your cousin?
Correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
And did you and her meet there together?
Yes.
You did? Okay. And where was Linda when you arrived at the house?
She was on the hill to the north of the house, a short distance away from where they were working on Todd.
Okay. And when you say the hill, are you referring to the elevation of the house, and there's an upper and a lower?
There's an incline, what I would call a small hill, going from the road level up to where the home was built, and it was built on a hill. It was a walkout, so it was at where the home was, and to the north or to the right of that. And Linda was a little, probably a short distance away from that while they were administering aid to Todd.
Okay. And you stated that there was Mr. Steve Leach was there, right?
Correct. He was the one, I believe, that was working on Todd.
Okay. And do you recall anyone else being present?
Doug Harrington, who I believe was the assistant chief at the time, and I believe Mike Matheny was standing off to the south side, but I didn't talk with Mr. Matheny.
And who was Mr. Harrington?
Doug Harrington was our township supervisor at the time, and also I think at that point in time he was also the assistant fire chief.
Did you observe Mr. Matheny providing any assistance and aid?
I didn't notice. Like I said, I was focused on Linda and went immediately to her.
Okay, and where was she? Was she inside one of the vehicles, or was she standing outside?
She was standing outside at that point in time.
Okay. Did you observe her at some point being placed in a vehicle?
Yes. My cousin Annette's mother, my Aunt Gail Crandall, arrived on scene with the clothes and the shoes, and then she sat inside. I believe it was Chief Leach's personal vehicle, a red truck. My aunt and Linda went into the truck together.
Was there an ambulance there at the time that you were present?
Eventually, but not when I first arrived.
Okay. Well, did you see Ms. Stermer? Did she leave while you was present?
Yes.
Okay. How did she leave?
I believe it was a family member that came and got her. I don't recall exactly who it was.
Okay. Did you observe any law enforcement officers talking to Ms. Stermer?
Yes.
Do you know who it was?
No.
Was it a male or a female? Do you recall?
Both.
Okay. How far was your house from the Stermer's house?
About 2.5 miles.
Okay. Could you see the smoke from your house?
No, our home is in the middle of the woods.
Okay. But as you approached the premises, you made a statement that you could see a lot of smoke.
Yes.
Okay. From the upper part of the house, right?
No, initially when I arrived, the smoke was coming out of the lower windows on the roadside on the main level. And we were there just a very short time, and smoke started coming out of the upper story windows and then out of the roof.
So when you first arrived, you saw smoke coming from the lower part of the house?
The windows on the main level on the roadside.
On the road side, is that what you're saying?
Correct. So not the walkout side, but the main level side.
Okay.
What I guess you would call the first story, not the basement.
Okay. Do you recall what the weather conditions was as far as the terrain there that day?
It started out as a sunny winter day. It was unseasonably warm initially. Then the weather did deteriorate, and it started spitting like a rain-sleet mix. And that's when I noticed that she was in her socks, and I was concerned, about that.
She was outside in her socks without a coat on, is that correct?
Correct.
Have you been shown any photos of the property or of the house?
No, I was not shown any photos.
Okay. And you retrieved the two dogs that was at the property, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Were there horses still on the premises at that time?
Yes, in the pasture.
Okay. Did you help care for those and rescue the horses?
Pardon?
Did you have anything to do with the relocation of the horses, or did they remain there on?
I did not.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Jury, any questions of her? I've got some hands going up. If you haven't already done so, we'll have you write them down and we'll retrieve them. Okay, I'm asking some of the questions asked by the jury. I'm not asking others, determining under the law not to ask them. What time did you arrive on the Stermer scene?
I believe it was the early or mid-afternoon.
You observed blood on the fender, you testified. Where on the fender?
On the front bumper on the driver's side and on the fender of the front driver's side.
Okay. Thank you, counsel. Any questions in light of those questions and answers?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions in light of that question and answer? Okay.
Ms. Thompson, when you say you saw blood on the fender, on the driver's side?
On the front of the vehicle. And I believe it was on the front quarter. I don't know the terminology, but like the front on the driver's side and on the side the driver's side is where I observed blood. There might have been blood elsewhere, but I don't know. That was the only location that I saw, and then I backed right off when I saw that.
But you've never been shown any pictures
No.
for you to point out
No.
if that was correct as to what you saw, right?
That was just what I observed, and I saw that location, and my husband and I looked at each other, and we both said something's not right, and I backed right off. I did not want to be there, so we got the dog and we got out.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Jury, any other questions of her? Nope. Is she excused from her subpoena, counsel?
Yes, it should please be excused.
Mr. Kelly, agree?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You're all done. Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Siderby?
Thank you, Your Honor. People call Ken Thompson to the stand, please.
Sir, before you have a seat, I'll have you raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Please have a seat, sir. You can move that microphone close to your mouth so the jury can hear you. And once you're settled, we'll have you give us your full name and spell the last, please.
Ken Thompson, Thompson.
Thank you, Ms. Siderby.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Thompson.
Good morning.
Mr. Thompson, did you know Todd Stermer?
I did.
And how did you know Todd?
He coached my children, and he was a neighbor.
And how well did you know him?
Oh, I thought fairly well.
And do you know Linda Stermer?
Yes.
And then how do you know her?
The same. Yeah. And just a neighbor and someone in the neighborhood and the mother of children that my children grew up with.
And how close is your house to the Stermer residence?
Oh, as a crow flies, about 1.5 miles by road, maybe 2 miles.
Do you remember January 7th of 2007?
I do.
And could you tell me what you were doing that day?
We spent the day on the farm across the road from Stermer's cutting firewood.
What was the weather like?
It was a beautiful day. It was shirt sleeve weather until later in the afternoon. It got nasty.
And so when you say you were across the street from the Stermers, were you directly across the street from the Stermer residence?
Just on the farm across the street, but at the north end of that farm.
And do you recall when you saw the fire?
It was, I went by Stermer's, went home, and I was probably home 15, 20 minutes, and we got a call that Stermer's house was on fire.
So you had just driven by the Stermer residence 15
Yes.
or 20 minutes prior?
Yes.
And then how did you learn that there was a fire?
Kim's cousin Annette called, and she heard it on the scanner.
And so do you remember distinctly seeing the Stermer home as you were passing by it?
I can't say that. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary.
You didn't see any smoke?
No.
So what happened then once you got that phone call?
I told Kim to jump in the truck, and we headed right over there.
And what was your thought? What were you going to do?
Anything we could.
When you got there, was there anyone else there?
I saw Chief Leach was there in his pickup truck, and I saw Mike Matheny in his pickup truck.
How long would you say it took you from the time you got that call on the scanner to get to the Stermer residence?
5 minutes maybe.
So you had just been by 15, 20 minutes prior, walked in the door, got the call, and then it took you another 5 minutes to get back over there.
Correct.
Did you go up the driveway, or where did you park your car?
We parked out toward the road so we wouldn't hinder any, because I knew fire vehicles would be coming. So we parked out by the road, and then I headed up the driveway to the house.
What did you do then once you got down the driveway?
I saw Linda, and I asked Linda, where are the children? Is there anybody else in the house?
And what did she say?
At first she was kind of incoherent, and my first thought was for the children in the house, so I was headed for the front door when she stopped me and said, no, there's nobody in there. The children are somewhere.
So you were getting ready to go into the house?
I was.
And did she come up to you and stop you, or did she grab you, or how did that?
Well, no, she just, I went by her, headed for the house, and she stopped me, just called to me.
And then what did she say at that point?
She said that there was nobody there, the children were somewhere, and I don't remember where she said they were.
Did you see any smoke or fire at that time?
I did, just a very little bit coming out of the chimney chase, the very top of the house.
At the top of the house?
Yes.
And that was the only place you saw smoke at that time?
Yes.
There were no firefighters there at that time?
Just Chief Leach was there in his personal pickup truck.
So you didn't see any smoke coming out the windows at that time?
Not at that time.
And you were standing in front of the house?
Yes.
Having this conversation with Linda?
Yes.
Did you see Todd at all?
Not that I recognized this Todd.
So tell me what you saw.
Well, I saw Chief Leach on the ground working on something, and I didn't recognize as a person.
Did you go over there?
I went too close. I wish I never would have.
What'd you see?
It was unrecognizable as a person.
Couldn't recognize his face? Couldn't recognize his face?
No.
How close did you get to Todd?
Oh, I would say from me to you.
Can we get a reference for the record? I'm going to say 12 feet.
I think yesterday we said 16, but I'll go with 12 today.
Sharpen my eyes a little bit.
And I understand this is very difficult. Where was Linda at that time?
I think she was still in approximately the same spot in the driveway in front of the house.
In front of the house?
Yeah.
What was she doing?
Oh, I kind of lost track of her at that point.
What did you do then? You said you lost track. What were you
Then
focusing
the
on?
firefighters started to arrive, and you know, I know all those guys, and I just went to them and see if I could assist them in any way, ladders, hoses, whatever.
And were you able to assist them?
Well, not with ladders or hoses. Yeah.
So how long were you on scene?
5 hours.
And you said when you got there, you just saw a little bit of smoke coming out of the top of the house?
Yes.
What did you observe then in the minutes that you were there?
Smoke started coming out windows, and you know, eventually the whole house went involved.
How long did that take, do you think?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but it, you know, probably 20 minutes, half hour.
So it was minutes.
Yes.
After the fire, did you have conversations with Linda, or were you present when she was talking about the fire?
Yes.
And where did those conversations happen?
Our kitchen table.
And do you recall what Linda said happened that day when she was at your kitchen table?
No.
Did she tell you where she was when the fire started?
Well, she told me that, you know, I talked to her the evening of the fire.
Oh,
and she said she was in the basement doing laundry.
So this was actually the day of the fire?
Yes.
Not at your kitchen table?
Right.
So then, was this a few hours after you arrived, or was it close to the time you arrived?
Close to the time.
Okay. So what did she tell you when you were talking on scene about the fire?
She said that she was downstairs doing laundry, and Todd was sleeping in his chair, and Todd yelled, "Linda, get out, the house is on fire." And she went out the basement door.
And she went out the basement door?
She said she looked up the stairwell and could see she couldn't get up there.
Did she say why she couldn't get up there?
I think there was flames or whatever, the impression I got.
And then she went out the basement door?
Yes.
Did she say anything else about that day?
Yeah, we talked for, you know, several minutes, several times. And I don't remember every bit of the conversation.
Anything that you remember about the fire and conversations with her, or just that?
Pretty much that.
And you stayed on scene for several hours.
Yes.
Did you stay until Linda left?
What's that?
Did you stay until Linda left?
I'm not sure. I know Linda was with the girls and I was with the firefighters, and I kind of lost track of her.
And at some point, did you see the van on the property?
I did.
And tell me why you saw the van.
Well, the deputy had asked us to guard that van and make sure that nobody touched it, or especially nobody sprayed it with water.
And why was that?
I guess there was evidence on it. You could see blood on it.
So you saw the blood?
I sure did.
And where did you see the blood?
Oh, down the front of the van, and then on the bumper going underneath the van.
Have you talked to Linda? You said there were some conversations at your kitchen table after the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any conversations with her about the fire at your kitchen table?
I don't recall.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Morning, Mr. Thompson.
Good morning.
I think I can segue some of the information I previously received from your wife. You and your wife have known the Stermer family for about 3 years prior to the date of the fire. Is that correct?
Yeah, ever since they moved to Lawrence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever go over and participate with Mr. Stermer in reference to any of the construction of the house?
Not the construction, no.
Okay. Did you ever go over to the house while the house was under construction?
Yeah, probably a time or two.
Time or two?
Yeah.
Okay. Could you describe what you knew as far as the layout of the house?
No, I didn't know the layout of the house.
Didn't?
I never went inside.
Never went inside? Okay. What would have been your purpose for being over to just...
Todd had a business. He sold military surplus, and I purchased a lot of things from him.
Military surplus?
Yes.
Okay.
Clothing. Yeah.
Okay. So he had an office that he worked out of the house with. Is that right?
I'm not sure. No, he always had stuff in his truck, or he would just bring stuff out
from the van, or
I don't remember the van.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that your knowledge of a fire was from a telephone call of your wife's cousin about the reason why y'all came to the house?
Yes, that's why we went over there.
Okay.
Yes. The call was Stermer's house is on fire, and I thought, I just went by there. Stermer's house isn't on fire, but so we hopped in the truck and headed right over there.
Okay. So now that brings me to a question that you stated that you had just been by the Stermer house?
Yes.
This was on a Sunday, is that correct?
It was on a weekend. I know we were cutting firewood across the street. It might have been Sunday.
Okay. And about what time a day was it when you had been by the house?
Oh gosh, we'd cut firewood for quite a long time. I'm not sure. Maybe sometime in the early afternoon.
Okay. And when you say you was cutting firewood, are you cutting firewood across from the Stermer property?
Yes. On the neighboring farm, right across the road.
You and who else?
Me and my two cousins.
Okay. And what time did y'all start cutting firewood?
Well, probably 9 a.m.
Okay. Did you know the vehicles that was part of the family that was parked at the Stermer property?
No.
I mean, had you seen, well, let me just clarify that. Did you know how many vehicles that the Stermers had?
No.
From the times that you had been over there, you only saw one vehicle?
Over the years, differing vehicles at differing times.
Okay. Well, let's say for, just during this period of time when you were cutting firewood, say for instance the last 2 weeks prior to that, had you seen the vehicles, any vehicles at that property?
No, not that I noticed, no.
Let me ask you this, had you ever seen the van?
I didn't remember that van until that day.
Okay. Could you say what type of vehicle you had a memory of that you had seen there on the property?
No.
You stated that Mr. Stermer sold you some products or
Yes.
from his truck?
Yes, it seemed like he had like a cube truck with a roll door on it at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, so you all complete your task of cutting wood about 12 o'clock that afternoon?
No. It was later in the afternoon. It was I would guess in the area of 4, maybe 5.
4 or 5 o'clock?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And so you had a direct view of the Stermer property from where you all were cutting wood, right?
No, we were at the north end of that farm, and there's trees and fence rows, and no, I couldn't see their house from where we were.
Okay, but when you finish cutting your wood, you're leaving, you have to come on the road.
Right.
And pass
We
the
went
Stermer
by
property.
Stermer's house, yes, on
Okay.
the way home, yes.
Okay.
And I didn't notice any smoke or anything out of the ordinary.
And didn't notice any vehicles there, is that right? Of course, you wasn't looking for anything suspect, right?
I was not.
Okay.
No, we were headed home.
But you definitely didn't see any smoke or any fire?
I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary.
Okay. Did you notice anybody outside at all?
I didn't.
Okay, all right. What was the weather conditions that day that you recall?
It was earlier in the day. It was just beautiful. It was a perfect day to cut firewood. I mean, we were in flannel shirts, and it was the weather was good. But later in the afternoon, around dark, the weather got pretty bad. It was spitting snow and rain, and it got pretty rough.
Okay. And the road that is in front of the house, the Stermer property, is it paved or
It is.
gravel?
Yes, County Road 215, it's paved.
It's paved.
Yes.
Blacktop or paved?
Yes.
Okay. To your knowledge, on the Stermer property, when you turn off the road for what would be, or driveway, was it paved?
No, it's gravel.
Gravel?
Yeah.
Okay. And have you ever been to the backside of the Stermer property?
Well, before they built the house, I knew every step of that property.
I beg your pardon, you said before you...
Before they built the house, yeah, I was on that property quite a bit.
Okay, so you knew the property before they even purchased
Yes.
the property?
Yes.
Okay. What was do you know how many acres it was?
Well, it started out, it was the original farm, it was a big property, and I'm not sure how many acres that they purchased.
Okay.
Yes.
But you was very familiar with the
Yes.
geographical layout of
Yes.
the property, right? And the house itself, could you describe the sloping of the house? Was it flat or was it an incline?
No, on the sides of the house, it sloped down, with a walkout basement.
Okay.
I would say it was about a one-story drop from, the sides of the house down to the basement entrance.
Okay. And so when you arrived on the property as a result of the telephone call from your wife's cousin, you stated that you immediately saw smoke from the chimney?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see any flames from the chimney?
No.
But you saw smoke?
Yes.
Was it a large ball of smoke?
No. I thought that initially that it was a chimney fire because it was the smoke was coming right out the chimney chase, and that's the only smoke that I saw. So I thought maybe they just had a chimney fire.
Were you familiar with chimney fires?
Yes.
Have you ever served on the fire department before?
No.
Okay. But you've seen a chimney fire before?
Many.
were there, could you give an estimate time frame as to, if you can recall, when you and your wife arrived? What would you say a guesstimation of your time when you arrived?
When we
on
arrived.
the property?
I'm not sure.
You left cutting the wood.
Yes.
About 3 or 4?
Yeah, 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you say it was after 5 o'clock then, right? When you would arrived at the Stermer's property?
That I couldn't say. I didn't look at a watch.
Okay. And did you pull into the property off of the road?
Yes, we pulled just off the road, and then, like I say, we wanted to make sure that we weren't going to hinder any fire vehicles, so we kind of got out of the way. We made sure our vehicles were out of the way.
Okay. And by the time that you're parking your vehicle, you begin to see smoke coming from another part of the house?
Well, it didn't take very long, and then there was smoke coming out windows.
Okay. And you saw that after you
Yes.
got out of your vehicle, is that right?
Right.
Okay. And these windows, they face the frontage of the road, is that right?
And on the sides.
And on the sides?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I noticed the smoke coming out the windows on the side.
Okay. But you didn't see any fire trucks there at that time, right?
No, just Chief Leach was there with the chief's truck.
Okay. So what did you do when you saw the smoke coming out of the windows, you see the smoke coming out of the chimney, you and your wife get out of your vehicle? What do you do then?
Well, I saw Linda in the driveway, and I quickly went to Linda. I was concerned for the children, and, I said, Linda, where's the children? And at first she was kind of incoherent, and I thought that the children would be inside. So I was kind of headed for the door, and she said, no, there's nobody in there. The children, I forget where she said they were.
Okay, when you saw Miss Stermer, was she with somebody else? Or
No,
was she
was
just
by
standing
herself.
there by herself?
She was by herself.
And where were, you said Mr. Leach was there, where was he at?
He was just to the north of the driveway, and he was on the ground.
Okay.
And at first I thought maybe he was working on some equipment, a fire extinguisher or whatever. I didn't recognize that it was a body.
Okay. And did you see anyone else there?
No.
Just Mr. Leach and Miss
Right.
Stermer?
Right.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so after you were comfortable with the fact that there was no one else in the house,
Mhm.
the children wasn't in the house, nobody else was in the house, what did you do then?
Oh, I just waited for the fire department to arrive. And it wasn't very long, and they arrived.
Okay. And do you know which fire department it was that arrived?
Lawrence.
Lawrence? Okay. And did you ever go over to the location where Mr. Stermer was lying on the ground?
No, I avoided it.
Okay. Okay. From the position that you were at, did you detect any unusual odor?
No.
Okay. Now, where was the van parked at?
It was behind the house. It was down the hill and around behind the house. You couldn't see it from the front of the house.
Okay. Okay. And what was the ground like?
It was slippery. It was kind of muddy.
Kinda, or was it muddy?
Well, it was muddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And at that time, was it still raining?
It had started to rain after we were there a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you recall the clothing that Miss Stermer had on?
I do.
Okay. Could you describe what you saw?
She had a T-shirt, gym shorts, and white socks. Just socks, no shoes.
And shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And a T-shirt.
Yes.
What would you estimate, just based upon your feelings of the weather then, what would you estimate the temperature to be at that time when you arrived?
At that time when I saw Linda, I don't know. I'm not sure. I couldn't say. But the temperature was dropping fast.
Dropping fast?
Yeah.
Okay.
It started out as a rain, and then it started to spit snow, rain mix.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were you were there when some of the law enforcement officers arrived, or were you?
I really didn't notice them. You know, I was with the firefighters. I heard the sirens and everything coming. I did see one deputy's vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were familiar with some of the personnel of the fire department, is that right?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Had you ever worked in the fire department?
I never did. No.
Okay.
They asked me to join, but I thought they'd be better served with spending their training money on a younger person. But several times I've, just been on scene just to assist in any way, carry a ladder, carry a hose, do whatever.
It's a volunteer.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
My wife was on the township board, and she was, it's a small town, and everybody kind of helps each other.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why the motto is "We grow together," right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Now, you stated in direct that someone asked you to watch the van.
Yes.
Do you recall who?
The deputy asked the assistant chief, Doug Harrington, and Doug Harrington asked me to help in that.
So you saying the deputy
had asked Doug Harrington to make sure that no water got sprayed on there and nobody, touched the van. And he asked me to help him in that.
Okay. So in putting out the fire, they wanted to make sure that the van didn't get hit with the water. Is that what they were talking about?
Right.
But you wasn't directed to move the van, though, right?
I don't think you could have, because it was that muddy. I don't know if you could have moved the van.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I think you would have had to have it towed.
Okay. And so approximately how long did you remain on the scene?
Like I say, we didn't get home. It was pretty late. It was pretty late. I would say we were there 5 hours.
Okay. And you recall someone bringing Miss Stermer some clothes, right?
I know the girls, Linda wanted my wife's Aunt Gail to bring her some clothes and shoes, and she just wanted her there maybe for comfort or whatever.
Okay. Okay. And so, since 2007, you haven't had to speak of this case to anyone in law enforcement?
No. No one in law enforcement.
And on that date, did any of the law enforcements that arrived, did any of them take an interview statement from you?
No.
Okay. Can I have just a second? Mr. Thompson, let me, you recall the fact that there was two dogs at the house?
I saw one dog.
You saw one dog?
Yes.
Were you part of rescuing the dogs?
Yes. While we were standing down there by the van, the basement window had been broken out, and the dog kept jumping through the window into the fire. I think the dog was just traumatized, and it kept jumping back and forth in and out of the window, and we were trying to catch it.
Did you have to go inside to get him?
No.
Okay.
No.
But you was able to ultimately rescue him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and then we kept the dog for Linda and the children.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And did you see anything on the van in reference to any type of blood on the van?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you see that at?
As I remember, it was down the front of the van, and then on the bumper, and then kind of, it seems like, to the best of my recollection, it was led underneath the van.
Underneath the van?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get down and look up underneath the van?
Well, I didn't get down on my knees or anything.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Was it just on the front, or?
That's all I saw was
just on the front?
On the front, yes.
Okay. But you don't know what caused the blood to be on the van?
I had no idea.
And you don't know what caused the fire?
No idea.
Okay. And my last question, when you said you first approached Linda Stermer, you stated that she was traumatized, in your opinion?
Yes.
Okay. And she couldn't speak, or did she speak?
Well, she could speak, but she wasn't making a lot of sense. She was sobbing, and when I first asked her where the children were, I think her response was, "I don't know," and that's what led me to, I was gonna go through the front door and see if I could do anything for the children. But then as I headed for the door, she told me, no, there's nobody in there. The children are somewhere.
While you were on the location, where was the great amount of flames and smoke that you identified while you were present there?
Well, I was toward the back of the house with Doug Harrington, and so that's where I saw the most flames.
From the back of the house?
Right.
Okay.
But I don't know at that time what was going on with the front of the house. I was, in the back.
Okay.
You're done? Okay. Ms. Seidemann?
Thank you, Your Honor. So I just want to clarify, when you first got there, you saw the smoke on the top. There were no holes in the roof at that time?
No.
Fire hadn't broken through
Just
yet?
smoke, yeah.
Okay. And was Mr. Matheny, did I remember you saying he was there?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was him, but I recognized the truck, and it was off to the side. He was kind of off to the side.
Okay, so he was there when you and Steve Leach were there as
Yeah,
well?
yes.
Okay. And did you smell the fire?
Did I smell the fire?
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I recall smelling anything.
Don't remember.
No.
And you arrived, were there law enforcement at the end of the driveway when you arrived?
I don't recall.
And you didn't put your name on a list or anything while you were on scene?
No, nobody asked me anything that night.
And you left then before you actually talked to the law enforcement?
Right. Yeah, when the fire department left, we left.
So you were actually kind of with the firemen and helping
Yes.
them out?
Yes,
So the dog was jumping in the basement window?
it was.
Was-
Probably 4 or 5 times.
Did the dog get burnt?
No, the dog would jump through the window, and then the flames would drive it back and jump out the window, and then we'd try to catch it, and it would run around a circle and jump back in the window.
So there weren't any flames coming out the window?
No, but you could see flames inside.
And if I told you that the dispatch call came in around 3:30, would that surprise you?
No, it was, that seems appropriate.
Seems about right time?
Yes.
In terms of the events of that day?
Yes,
Fits in with your cutting of the firewood?
right.
So I'm guessing, were you looking at a watch or a clock?
Not at all.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank
Every
you.
day is work from daylight to dark.
I have no further questions.
Jury, any questions of this witness? Anyone? I've got one hand going up. Did you assist at all with covering Todd with any clothing?
No,
Okay, thank you.
no.
Any other questions? Any questions in light of the question asked and answered?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Kelly, any questions of him? Any more? Nope. Thank you, sir. Can he be excused from subpoena?
I would ask that you please be excused.
Any objection to that, to excusing him from his subpoena?
Yes.
Good? Okay, thank you. You're done and you're excused from your obligation under subpoena, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Counsel, can you approach, please?
Yes, Your Honor.